Hello, everybody. We're the Geeks and the Genets. I am Enzo. This is my forever co-host, Jump. Today, we wrap up our crime week with the Crown Prince of Crime, the Joker. But yeah, this is the Joker standalone movie coming out of 2019. And if you guys, 2019 was like 5 years ago. So if you guys don't remember, this movie made a splash, to say the least. Like, before we get into the nitty gritty, what were your thoughts when they announced one, we're making a standalone Joker movie, and two, it's by the guy who made The Hangover?
Not gonna lie, like I didn't know it was directed by the guy who made Hangover until somebody told me. But I've already watched the trailer at that point, so I was just like, "Yo, he might be cooking with something, like like he might be doing something right."
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm not gonna say anything. Say what you will about the Hangover movies, like they're great, but yeah, it seems like a little bit of a far cry from what he used to direct when it comes to a Joker. I'm like, okay, I'll let him do his thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I was a little bit excited for this one.
Yeah. I heard the rumor mill, like at first it was like, it's directed by, the rumors were that it was going to be directed by Scorsese and starring DiCaprio, and I was like, a Joker movie by Scorsese starring DiCaprio? Jesus Christ. And then they're like, nope, that's just a rumor. It's going to be directed by Todd Phillips, who made the Hangover movies, and it's going to star Joaquin Phoenix. And I was like, what? Okay. And like, I'm like, what kind of Joker movie are you going for? Like, Joker can be in different tones. Like, is it going to be a fun action movie where he takes on the Batman? Is it going to be like something? I was thinking like something like over the top because it's Joker. And then I see the first trailer and I'm like, oh, you're going that direction. You're going, what if Joker wasn't fucking Taxi Driver? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
where his biggest nemesis in society. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. And then they were also like, by the way, Robert De Niro is in a comic book movie and it's this one. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Interesting.
You got us. You know, like, and like, I will say I was kind of surprised with how this movie went.
Yeah. This is Gotham set in the 70s, and like Gotham is just more depressing than it usually is because of economic times. And like, I like the fact it's set in the 70s because that was a hard time for America economically. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. So it's like New York in the 70s. And like they're dealing with like crime rates, supersized rats that are like the size of, well, not as big as the ones we have here in like PGH or like in Makati.
I love how you're like, ours are bigger.
Yeah. Oh, have you seen ours?
I saw one that's the size of a dog. Yeah.
We're not exaggerating. To the people who,
small dog. Like, let's say Yorkie. That's a big ass rat.
Yeah. To the foreigners watching, we're not exaggerating, by the way. Anyway, but yeah, we follow Arthur Fleck, and like, you're like, this guy has mental health issues in the 70s, and it's in bad economic times. Things probably can't go great. Like, it's amazing how this movie's about the Joker, but the entire time you're like, really hope things work out for you, man. I really do.
Mm-hmm. And they did stick to that philosophy that that Christopher Nolan kind of gave Joker.
Yeah.
Where just one bad day, can just push you over the edge, and that's what it felt like this entire movie, where it's just a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
Like something bad is gonna happen,
and it's just
by
not
the end of this.
one dude falling into a vat of acid and his life is over. It's like the time bomb has been ticking for a while, and you're just like, when is it going to finally explode? And like, you get your answers here, but like, you see how Arthur's living, how hard Arthur's doing. Like, he has a bad job, his boss is shitty, his coworkers are just mean, except for that one guy. His mom is also dealing with issues. She clearly follows the saying that the Lulu is the Salulu because she thinks Thomas Wayne is like has grander plans and is, as a CEO, cares about his employees. Again, this is a massive billionaire CEO, and I think pausing for a bit, like I think that's why Alec Baldwin declined the role of Thomas Wayne because he's like, I'm not gonna play some selfish billionaire. But like the guy they got here is pretty great. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
He's the guy from The Dark Knight Returns that Selena Kyle kidnapped for a bit. The senator who like gets shot in the bar while saying, you know, it's like bye bye.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That is him. Holy shit. I'm
Um,
glad he's back in Gotham.
as like one of the main roles in Gotham, and like the things he says, you're like, that's funny how politics never change from the 70s to now for a lot of politicians. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So like you know like Gotham's kind of just like in this spiral downwards,
yeah.
and like we're just seeing it in the eyes of one of their victims, and that is Arthur Fleck. And it is a bit odd when you kind of hear Arthur Fleck instead of like Jack something. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Because like that's the original name for
Joker.
Joker.
Yeah.
So you're like, who's Arthur Fleck? I guess is just a spin-off. I guess he's an entirely original character
Yeah.
with the Joker. Kind of just on
yeah.
it, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. The
Anyway,
only bright light is like at least he's with Zazie Beats. Like at least she likes
yeah,
him.
you know,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like the world kind of like really beats the dead horse out of it, you know? Like he has a condition. People are like, hey, you're weirding me out. He's like, it's a mental health condition,
Yeah.
and you're like, stay away from my kid.
Yeah.
He gets beat up by a couple rich guys.
Yeah, and
That he kills.
that's when part of the bomb explodes. It's just like a minute, like boop, and you're like, oh fuck, like Joker's first kill, and like the way he kills him, like two of them are obviously self-defense, but the way he chases that one guy down and murders him, you're like, oh, he likes this, and like the music is pretty great. Like when he's dancing, and it's the same composer who did Chernobyl, and you're like, that makes sense. I also felt uneasy in that show.
Same here.
Like he loses his job too because he dropped a gun in the middle of a kid's party and in the middle of a kid's ward in the hospital, and you're like, yeah, things are really not going great for you, dude.
Yeah, it really ain't. And I like at some points you do get it. It is a very big message. You can tell that this movie is trying to say something.
Yeah.
You know, like where he does commit murder. That is his only time in life where he actually had control.
Yeah, that's where he felt something other than this dark cloud. I love that line, even though it's so sad, where his therapist is like asking him a question. He's like, "You're not hearing me. All I've had are bad thoughts. I'm always miserable." And you're just like, when is this movie gonna ease up? Fuck.
Like, it's like, it's like the entire time, and it'll bump up a bit and then back down.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, but yeah, this movie does not ease up.
The only time he's happy also is the other moments of Delulu when he thinks like Robert De Niro, Murray, is like, he idolizes him. That's why he's trying out stand-up comedy, and he's like, maybe one day Murray will see me for who I am. And he tries to audition for the Comedy Store, and it's the most painful thing you've ever seen. And then they start cheering, and you're like, bull fucking shit, I don't believe this. And but
or maybe we're like, it's 70s jokes, we might not get it.
yeah, and I'm like,
something like that. But
for a bit, like, am I mean? Am I not giving Arthur a break? I should give Arthur a break.
yeah, but like at the start, we're just like seeing him flop.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, it's very hard to watch when you see somebody flop in stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's like, clearly he's flopping, but he catches the eye of Zaza Beats, and I'm just like, cool. You got Domino from Deadpool, like, why not?
Yeah.
He starts something, you get this entire scenario where he's like very in love with her, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of nice. I guess this might be his Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Or like something will happen to her that pushes him over the edge.
Yeah. Like,
Because she seems pretty normal.
yeah.
Like, she has a kid.
Yeah, and you're like, I hope she doesn't die, because maybe that pushes him over the edge. But yeah, like, it just continues to go downhill, because after the whole comedy bit, his mom like reveals that Thomas Wayne might be your dad, and you as a Batman fan, you're like, what?
I'm not gonna lie, we were kind of
Yeah, I'm like
older brother versus younger brother. That's kind of cool.
and he does visit Bruce Wayne, and he does have a moment with him, and he confronts Alfred. Is like, can you stay the fuck away from us? And he's like, I'm the son of Penny Flag, and he's like, oh, her. Well, she's crazy. He's like, don't call her that.
Yeah.
Starts strangling Alfred, and I'm like, wait, the traumatic stuff's not supposed to happen until later to Bruce. And then
Yeah, it was a bit creepy that he was a little too close to younger Bruce.
yeah,
You know, a little innocent Bruce.
and then his mom has a stroke, and like at the hospital, he sees Murray play his tape, and you're like, yeah, it's as bad as I thought it would be. Yeah, poor guy. And Murray starts breaking his balls, and you're like, poor guy, poor Arthur. And he's also interrogated by two detectives. Forgot where the actors are from, but I'm like, I've seen you places. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he gets a call from Murray, and you think things are starting to go up, but then he makes a decision to see Thomas Wayne during some rally. By the way, people are already being inspired by Joker, or sorry, Arthur, by his actions, because they know they've been called clowns by this asshole of a billionaire CEO. So they're like, fuck it, we're clowns. Fuck you. I'm like, Arthur does confront Thomas Wayne, and he gets decked by him, but he's like, if you go near my kid again, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And you're like, yeah, he's serious. I've seen him in alternate universes. Thomas Wayne doesn't fuck around.
And like he goes into like that institute that his mother was in.
Yeah, Arkham.
Yeah, Arkham, pretty much. Oh, right, good point.
Yeah,
I forgot we're in Gotham.
right.
But yeah, he goes into Arkham and just like tries to find like the files that proves that hey,
You're adopted.
yeah, your original father is Thomas Wayne,
Yeah.
and he doesn't get it.
Yeah. He finds out that he's been beaten all his life, and that's why he has that laugh, because it's a brain injury. You're like, that's rough, and your mom adopted you, and through her delusions, never took care of you, stood by as he was abused. Like, they found poor Arthur tied to a radiator. Like, at some point in the movie, when I watch it nowadays, I'm like, you know what, I need a fucking break.
Yeah, like at this point, I'm like, I need an intermission.
Yeah.
You know, like I know this is not directed by Scorsese, but it feels like Scorsese.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, Arthur finally snaps, and like he ends up in Zazie Beet's apartment, and you're like, at least someone loves him. No.
Right? Like, well, like she was with him when his mother like
Had
was
a
in the
s-
hospital. You know, like they love each other. And he's just like, can you please get out of my house? And like
then-
she's trying to protect her kid. I'm like, we're just like, oh fuck, it's all in his head.
And like, at least he has the Murray Franklin show. And then his two co-workers visit him, and they're like, the big guy is like, hey, you're not saying anything, right? Oh, sorry, before that he kills his mom. That's where we get the line of like, oh, I thought my life was a tragedy. I realize it's a fucking comedy. And he starts
Yeah.
smothering her, and you're like, how? Okay. And then the co-workers come to his place, and the guy's like, you're not talking to the police, are you? He's like, yeah, it's fine. Stabs him a couple of times and bashes his brains out. You're like, yeah, Arthur's full Joker territory. And like, he spares the one guy who's like, I don't want to die, please. I want to get out of here.
This poor guy's just like, and he can't reach the fucking lock. I know this is a horrible scene, but I'm so sorry I laughed.
Yeah. It's the only time you're like, oh god, I'm awful.
Yeah. But I was also kind of on edge because I'm like, he's kind of unpredictable now, and I don't know what he will do.
And he's like, you know what, you're the only one that was nice to me. And then that's where we get the scene of Joker in full regalia. But he's not Joker yet. He's still Arthur, but clown makeup. And gets chased through the subway where there's like a riot. And like he just has like this shit-eating grin as the detectives are being murdered. And you're like, you know what? Good for you, Arthur. You deserve some. a spark of happiness.
You need a win.
Yeah.
Like it's horrible, but you need a win.
Yeah, and like this entire time you're on edge because Joker. Sorry, I keep calling him Joker. He's not Joker yet. I should be patient. Arthur keeps
Yeah.
practicing for the show, and he plans to unalive himself. And you're like, thought this was about the Joker. I guess his story ends here, but he's not doing anything too Jokerish. You know, it's not like setting off bombs everywhere. But like, I guess
Yeah.
for a realistic setting, what else can you do?
Dude, like, not gonna lie. When we saw the scene, when we saw that scene in the trailer, we all kind of knew where we were going with it. Where we were like, "Oh, here comes the Joker gas! Everybody in this room is gonna die."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But sadly, though, that wasn't the case. I'm saying sadly because I'm like, oh, it was in the comics. It's a horrible thing.
Yeah, I do love before he comes out, he's just staring, like, just full of rage at the screen of like, how dare my only idol do this to me? And then he's like, you know what, fuck it. He starts dancing, he comes out to the show, says the most tone-deaf jokes, and then that's where we have this great dialogue scene between Robert De Niro and Joaquin Phoenix, and you're just like, dialogue-wise, this is pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Situation-wise, I think we're about to snap, dog. I'm not gonna lie. Though what Joker says is like, look, man, you care about these three rich assholes, but if it was me dying on the side of the road, you wouldn't blink an eye? Is this what society has come to? Like, you determine who lives and who's worthy and who's not worthy of being mourned for? Like, the way you decide what's funny and not funny? And you're like, I don't think this is Arthur speaking anymore. I think this is the director, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And because he does admit, yeah, I killed those three trust fund kids, and that's when Murray is like, let's call the police. And he's like, how about one more joke? What do you get when society abandons a mentally ill loner? You get what you fucking deserve. Pulls out the revolver and point blank shoots De Niro, and you're like, okay.
And that shit was a little too real.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit.
You know,
Like,
for a while,
it was in a wide shot. Too.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh god.
I don't know about you, but I thought, I don't know why, I thought it would be the Joker gun where it says, lol, gotcha, or something like that. I was like, he's not gonna do that, right? Oh, okay. I love it when Joker grabs the screen and like from like all the news coverage you see Arthur just mounting off, and then you see him get tackled, and I'm like, yeah, that's appropriate.
Yep.
And then you get the scene that mirrors the Dark Knight when they're like, this is your fault. Just like, I know. You're like, okay.
All right. At least he takes responsibility.
Yeah.
But yeah, the police car like crashes. The rioters are like going crazy, and they're like, "Hey, you're like one of the only few that actually stood up to those rich bastards."
Yeah. And then,
So everybody like looks up to him. Yeah, he does that.
and now he is Joker. And like that moment, I'm like, I don't know whether I should feel dread or be happy, but Jesus, that image is etched in my head like a brand. I'm like, holy fuck, you're Joker now.
By the way, while the chaos is ensuing, an origin story is happening in the background. Some kids' parents aren't making it throughout the night.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
Yeah, the moment I saw the theater and the play name, I was like, oh, this fucking play. Okay. I guess we all know everybody, the audience watching us knows what's going to happen or what has happened. Yeah. It's a great scene, but like we've seen it played out a million times at this point. But I do love the fact that when, like, again, you just don't know if everything is in his head, because the doctor's like, what's so funny? And he's like, you wouldn't get it. And it's the scene of the Waynes. And you're like, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is all in your head or if this actually happened. I guess, judging on how the trailer for Joker 2 went down, guess it was real, because people are like, yeah, Arthur fucked shit up and got him. What are we going to do now? But yeah, it ends with like Joker maybe killing the poor doctor. Who knows at this point?
I feel like it because he had like bloody footprints.
Yeah, and I'm like, of course, you are Joker now. But yeah, this was such a uneasy. Like the entire time, you're like comic book movies, right? And then that year, we already saw like Shazam and Endgame, and you're like, I know what a comic book movie is. And you see this one, you're like,
That was
apparently
Huh?
not. Apparently not. I don't know shit. Apparently.
yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, I remember the controversy surrounding this movie. I remember all the articles around this movie. I was like, they were like, are they gonna start rioting? And is crime gonna go up because of this movie? No, apparently not. That's exag, but like at the same time, this movie definitely made a splash in like
Nope.
our culture.
Yeah, there was a little bit of like backlash on it because people were like, "Hey, you're kind of painting mental health issues like as if it's a bad thing, or like
In a
like
bad
you'll
light.
become a bad you'll
Yeah.
become a psychopath if you have any mental health issues."
Yeah.
And that's when you know that the person you're talking to clearly hasn't watched the movie or really understood it. Where they're
Yeah.
kind of just showing that these people who do have mental health issues are just one of the many victims
Of
of like a really corrupt society,
yeah.
and this is how they can snap, and this is how they might feel like they could fight back
Yeah.
because everything's against them.
Can happen to anyone essentially.
Yeah,
Like yeah, like it doesn't help that our world since 2019 has gotten crazier, and you're just like,
Yep.
I feel like the world, in the words of Argo, like everything's going crazy nowadays. You know, like
yeah.
right is left, left is right, up is down, down is up. You're like, what the fuck is happening? I thought I knew everything.
It is kind of funny that like after this movie, you know how like The Dark Knight kind of sparked that entire craze of people just copying Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah,
It kind of resurfaced with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, and people idolizing it. And I'm just like, okay, I think it's all great if you like the character, but please, you're missing the point if you idolize him.
right. It's the whole Patrick Bateman, Patrick Bateman situation where you're like, don't think you're really getting the point of the character or this whole story.
Yeah,
But yeah, also poor Jared Leto, sandwiched between really great Jokers. You're like, damn, dude, sucks to be you.
not gonna lie, I forgot there was a Joker.
Yeah, up until like the Snyder cut, I was like, right, you are the Joker too. Oopsie.
My bad.
Right. But yeah, everything being said, what would you rate Joker?
I would rate Joker an 8.5 out of 10.
8.5. You saying 8.5? Sorry, I think I misheard you.
Yeah, an 8.5 out of 10. Like,
Okay.
it was, I would say it's beautifully written. It's a pretty good movie. It had a message, and it said it pretty well.
Yeah.
Might not be my cup of tea, not gonna lie, but it might be somebody else's. Is this cinema? Maybe to somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I could see it. Performance with Joaquin Phoenix is fucking amazing. Where Robert De Niro stole the show, even though he's there for like maybe 5 minutes
Yeah.
or something like that. I'm not sure, but the twists, the turns, like seeing the Wayne family, like everything that went down before Batman
Yeah.
was very interesting to see. Seeing Gotham in this state, I'm like, yeah, in my opinion, like this might be at the time before the Batman came along. That was like, oh, this is kind of a realistic but accurate representation of Gotham.
Yeah.
And then we get the Robert Pattinson one. I'm like, never mind. This sounds great.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, though, I'm just like, great movie. I'm happy I watched it, but I'm never watching it again. And I feel horrible for saying this, but I didn't watch it for this fucking review because I'm like, I don't really want to go through that again.
It takes a lot. Like watching this.
Yeah,
Dude, I watched this during the typhoon. I was like, it was stormy. It was dark. I was like, I'm in a dark. I'm not mentally, of course, but I'm in a physical dark place, and this movie's not aiding me being like, you know what, I can watch this movie.
right. And just like, the fact that the lineup is long legs, we got Gone Baby Gone and this, I'm like, you know what? I think I can sit this one out.
Right? Like, honestly, I'm going through this by like highlights. Like, I remember again, like everything's like a brand in my brain. I remember watching it the first time, so like and I've seen it like maybe 5 times in my lifetime, and that
God
might
damn.
be yeah, dude. The worst part was like I did watch this during lockdown, and I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? What the fuck? Things are already hard. But no, it's. Are you done with your ratings?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great movie, great performance. Oh, I forgot Barry Keoghan is also Joker. He seems promising. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah. But like, Joaquin Phoenix is definitely up there with the greatest Jokers of all time. Whether that be Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson, um, the small bits of Barry Keoghan we got, or Troy Baker and Mark Hamill. Like he's definitely up there. Like I know there's also like a tiny bit that love Jared Leto, so there's that. Um, but yeah, it's just a great movie. The tone is perfect. The setting, like how they made Gotham. I agree with you. Like up until the Batman, I was like, yeah, this is Gotham. Like it might be in the 70s, but like when has Gotham never been this? Has never been like Metropolis, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah. And I just really love the performances. The twists and turns are pretty great too, and like Todd Phillips did an excellent job directing and writing this, and like I just hope he continues with Joker Folie et Dupe, because it'd be such a shame if we were like, yeah, the first one is great, the second one not so much, and I really want to see Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, so I'm excited for
Yeah.
that. But yeah, it's a great movie, and like you, I think this will be the last time I'll see this in a long time, because I'm like, I can't do it, man. If I have to watch this in a row, I'll be like, I like my life. Life is going pretty well for me, you know. Like I watched this during college, and like I'm done with my college life and my college mindset. Now I'm like in a better mindset too. So I'm like, you know what? I don't want to revisit that time ever. And this movie, it does literally knock the wind out of you, because when I watched this and I got to that whole scene, I was like, oh god, oh god, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Like there's a big weight on your shoulder.
Yeah. Uh, but good stuff. Really good stuff. Yeah. That's been our video
Wait,
on.
Wait, what? Rating?
Oh, sorry. Wait, fuck. I'm losing it, man. No. I'll give us a 9. It's a great movie
Alright.
with a small caveat of like me being like never again. I'm like maybe in 10 years or 5 minimum. Who knows?
Okay.
But yeah, that's been our video on Joker. Who's your favorite Joker? I already said Heath Ledger, Mark Hamill, and Troy Baker. Whoever it is, comment below. Jack Nicholson, of course. But yeah, if you like our stuff, please leave a like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on Spotify and TikTok. TikTok to see your best and funniest moments. Spotify to hear us on the go. Individual Zoda's voices on TikTok and Ends Wolf on Letterboxd. Where can they find you?
You can find me at JohnJuM_ on Instagram is my account.
And until the next one, we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.